everybody, this is Ginger, and this is Ginger's Chat Show, and it's Friday, December 19th. I can't remember whether the 20th or 21st is, winter solstice is supposed to be. I think it's tomorrow. Some say it's today, but I don't think it's always like on the 20th or 21st. Anyway, this will be somewhat of a short video because I got a lot to do. I'm going to do some feng shui. I'm going to be fixing my office here. Sorry about the mess. You only have so much space to do things and put things, and I got to do some serious spring cleaning, early spring cleaning. Anyway, today we're going to be discussing Ukraine, Governor Hochul of New York. I like her. Her decision, which involves everyone's personal preferences, and Donnie is shouting so-called speech in a shouting match. Ukraine is getting very inventive, and they're getting sneaky. President Zelensky has ordered artillery to aim toward Putin's palace. And he had long-range artillery. And he struck it and caught on fire. There's nothing more said about this, but you get the idea. Putin considered a nuclear strike against Ukraine, and Ukraine goes, not going to happen. Figured the other countries will strike back. Many of the European countries are now backing Ukraine and say no to Russia. They know the history there, okay? They know Putin's history. They know Russia's history. And you think Russia would learn a lesson, right? They're like Donnie, not learning anything. So anyway, Putin knows he's on the hunt, okay? And I think the International Criminal Court should also slap a war criminal charge against Putin. Because Putin's the one that invaded Ukraine in the first place, remember? Don't believe what Donnie says. Look what the picture says, look at what the facts says, and then do your research. I read both 1440 newspaper, and also I read ground news newspaper there too. Because ground news, they gather everything. And you can't change history. So Donnie and company, you cannot change history. You cannot whitewash or erase history. Once history is written, it's set there in stone. So, oh, by the way, Donnie, get this. You'll be a tiny little paragraph on the bottom of the history book on the footnotes. You're not going to get your name on. Your name is not going to be on anything, except one line. Donnie, Trump has screwed everything up. Okay? We're very close to it, from I understand from many sources, we're very close to a brink of recession, which is caused by Donnie. He's the one that created the mess, okay? Putin's not helping anything in Europe either. But Europe is banding together, and they're against Russia. China doesn't trust Russia. Okay. Well, they never have anyway. Anyway, on state side, Governor Hochul of New York has signed an amendment, and she's sending it to legislation to adjust and fix the right to die law. Reason is that there are so many people that are fighting a chronic and terminal disease. They rather go on their own terms and not let the disease win. Okay, like cancer. Cancer is the biggest thing. Um, Cancer. I don't think they're not going to do any dementia or Alzheimer's unless there's a secondary thing going on. But many of those that are against that don't understand. What would you do? Let me ask the people that are against this right to die thing, especially people like Archbishop Dolan and everything. Which, by the way, he's been removed from the Archdiocese of New York because he has been expounding Trump's views, which I think is wrong. Okay, Catholic Church should stay out of politics. The only politics they need to worry about is their own. But I agree with the Pope. Said, yeah, he needs to be either straighten up his ways. I'm talking about Dolan. Straighten up his ways, or be removed. And if he's not going to listen to anybody or anything, keep listening to Trump, then he'll remove him. Okay. I know it to some people it's not fair, but it's not fair to somebody that keeps listening to lies, because it's in the Ten Commandments. Okay, do not lie, steal, cheat, that type of thing. Anyway, she signed an amendment to make it more clarifying to those that have chronic illness and wish to die on their own terms. In other words, medically induced death, they have to set a certain criteria. New York has basically followed Oregon's pattern. Oregon has the right to not die law there in Oregon. I don't know. There's a few other states that do that too, and follow that particular plan. And they have to be certified and everything to say, yeah, okay. And everything has to be set up, burial and everything else has to be set up. She said those that are living chronic terminal illness, their living setup is not all that good. It's basically hopeless, and it's not good for them, it's not good for the family. And if that person wishes to be medically put to death, they have that choice. Okay. It's really sad, and yes, it's unfair. But those that are living with chronic illness, terminal illness, they don't want the disease to win. They go on their own terms. So I agree with Governor Hochul on that. Those that disagree or against it, stop and think and put yourself in the other person's shoes. What would you do? How would you feel? Okay. For example, like in animals. It's not the same thing in animals, except in animals we're more free to do it. But human beings, it's about the same thing, same similar situation, okay? Like this past September, I had to put my cat to sleep. Loki was 7 years old, and he had nasal cancer, nasal lymphoma. And he was so bad he couldn't even breathe. He wasn't even eating. He was fighting not to take his medication. In other words, he didn't want any of his medications. It's his way of telling me, say, hey, just let me go. So I had to put him to sleep. So now he's cremated and he's in a box over there in my bedroom alongside Cyrano. Now Cyrano died of old age. He was almost 15 years old. But he was also fighting a lymphoma type thing. They suspect he may have lymphoma cancer too behind it, which was making him go faster. But both cats are running free in Rainbow Bridge. So now, I agree with Governor Hochul on what would the humans do. Now, next one, Taco Donnie. I'm calling him Toddler Donnie, which I think that's kind of good too. I refuse to watch any of his speeches, okay? And you know very well what he's going to say, right? He did a lot of shouting and yelling and telling lies that are not true, and pushing his version of reality on prices and everything else. Oh, well, gas is $1.99 and the food prices are low and everything else. No, they're not, Donnie. Gas are like, well, gas here did drop down to $3.39 here in Lakewood. Some places like $5. But it depends on your area, where you're from, and everything else. What gas prices are established there. Groceries prices are high because it was stupidity on tariffs. Tariffs should be banned. There's no. It's an old archaic tool, okay? Tariffs were once used in the 1700s, 1800s, but they only did it on tea and sugar, okay? They didn't do anything else because, you think about it, trade hasn't really expanded to other products as of yet, okay? You really think about it. So, tariffs should be banned. They should be dropped. And they should not be used. If you want to correct a country on trade, in other words, if they violate the trade rules, then they should do it an economic sanction instead of a tariffs. Economic sanctions are more surgical, okay? They pick and choose what areas to create a little pressure on. So grocery prices are high. And like with me, it's gone up from, well, it depends on what it is. I only put so much in my refrigerator. Let's put it this way. I don't have the great big double door refrigerators. Okay, when you really stock things in there, mine's smaller. So I have to be careful what I choose and stick in there. So it's high. It's like averaging $100 some odd dollars every 2 weeks. Or usually it's $100, a little bit of $100 a month. okay, on groceries. I had to switch grocery companies. I had to drop Safeway because they kept playing games, and I finally had enough. And I switched over to Whole Foods slash Amazon Fresh. They're cheaper. Amazon Fresh is so much cheaper, and your delivery is done within 2 hours. It's not like 5 hours or 6 hours from Safeway. This is like right here. And when I had them deliver, what was it, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. I had them deliver. I ordered that morning, and it was there by 10 o'clock that morning. Ordered at 8 o'clock, and it was here by 10. They were fast, super fast, and I was very happy with it. And also, I'm considering switching to Factor because I want to eat better. And I can only put so much fruit and vegetables in the refrigerator. That was part of my problem. So I'm thinking switching to Factor and eating a little bit better there. Um, so the handlers to attention handlers that supposed to be handling Taco Donnie, grow a spine, grow a brain, and tell them, no, this is not true. You keep this up, you're going to be in deep doo-doo. Well, which is he not already in deep doo-doo? Tell him to lie, stop shouting, and stop acting like a little toddler with a tantrum. That's so unpresidential. Okay? He didn't know what being a president means. He thinks being president he could do whatever he wants. They have to follow rules like we do. Okay? Right? So, handlers, muzzle him. Muzzle Trump. Really muzzle him. Their White House used to be when we had a normal president, like President Biden or President Obama. Everything was kept in-house. The only information came out was something very important that President Obama wanted to alert the public on what he's doing. For example, when he was straightening out Bush's mistakes, economic mistakes, he straightened that out. Of course, at that time we had a Democratic Congress and House and say, hey, we need to fix this and do it quickly. And then Trump came in and he kind of screwed things up a little bit, but Trump didn't know enough of how everything worked. But we kicked him out then. We, of course, should have kept him out. And also, what should have happened then was Trump should have been impeached and totally removed and not able to run for president again. Okay? Because he's a convicted felon. Trump is. 34-count convicted felon. He should not be in office. And not only that, with his possible dementia, or he's showing signs of dementia, he should be removed. Okay? Vance wouldn't even know how to handle anything. Vance is a little bit obtuse on a lot of stuff. Okay? You ask him a pinpoint question and he's like, what? You know, not understanding the question. So, we need to push back this coming year. We're making progress in law on the special elections. Many of the Democrats most states are turning blue. They had enough. People had enough. Now, the centrist Republicans, they're not MAGA, okay? They're a little different group. Centrist Republicans are more kind of half independent and half uh, Democratic, is what they are. But they side with the Democrats. And of course, the independents always caucus with the Democrats. They don't like the Republicans that much. Um, but the centrist Republicans are pushing back. And many of the MAGAs are not running for re-election. They see the writing on the wall. The way Trump is acting, the way he's saying things and doing stupid things, and now it's starting to affect everybody. And they should push back. They should do impeachment proceedings if he's still alive by the end of next year. And the way Trump is going, and with his dementia, they found the average of dementia is anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So he may not last. Okay. And the guy has never really taken good care of himself health-wise. I don't think he's ever listened. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and check my calendar real quick here. Hold on a minute. Let's see. Whoops. Okay, I will see you on Monday, the 22nd of December. I will not be doing I'll see you Monday and Wednesday. Next week. On Christmas weekend, I will not be doing a chat show. So, I'll remind you again of that. So anyway, be sure to insist, persist, and push back. And talk to your senators, talk to your representatives. Those in the red states, start pushing, okay? Start yelling and start pushing. Remind them who they work for, which is you. We're the government, you and I. We are the government, okay? And we're just electing those that represent us in this House and Senate and the federal level to do the jobs on our behalf. Sorry, my nose is leaking. So anyway, I will see you on Monday. Have a wonderful, safe weekend, much as you can. Prayers to those, and try to help if you can. If you could donate to Red Cross or to World Central Kitchen to help those here in the Puget Sound region because of the flooding. Lucky for me, I'm not affected that much. I'm up here more on the foothills, so it's pretty hilly here in the Puget Sound region. And some of them are getting their power back because we had that windstorm come through here a couple of days ago. I was lucky I didn't lose power, but my friends who live over there weren't so lucky they lost power, so they're getting theirs back. So anyway, I will see you on Monday. Take care, stay safe, keep your eye on the sky. Be sure to share, and I will post this on my YouTube channel, same name, Ginger's Chat Show. Tell them it's free to subscribe. And we'll just go from there, okay? Take care, love to all. Bye-bye.